Let's start things off with News or Snooze presented by Christopher William Jewelers. Bennett will give me 3 quotes. I'll tell you if they're newsworthy or snoozeworthy. He's been hitting the nail on the head these last few weeks, giving me tons of newsworthy quotes. What's your first quote of the News or Snooze segment presented by Christopher William Jewelers?
Curt Cignetti met with the media on Tuesday night, so this is yesterday. He says, because of the heat, we've had to push practice back tonight to 7. Got to adjust and improvise. We've got about 5 guys who have class tonight that I guess were missing practice because the heat, they're changing the schedule. Is that news that they have to move it around or snooze?
You know what was news? Them not tackling all fall camp because they were using Bucknell as a third scrimmage. So I'm going to say this is snoozeworthy. He didn't seem too scared about it, but what was newsworthy was that they didn't tackle all fall camp. This is snoozeworthy.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure there was one snooze. We've been doing a lot of news, so I thought this was kind of a snooze as well. But somewhat interesting that
It is.
it's so hot this week that they had to move some stuff around. But anyway, all right, number 2. This is Curt Cignetti on Jordan McLeod. He has performed better in the scrimmages than he does in practice.
Thank you for including this one. I sent it to you. You probably already had it bookmarked. I'm going to say this is snoozeworthy because he's the QB1. So, it doesn't matter at this point. He showed out in the game. He balled out. I think what we can call him is a baller. He's not a practice player, but you turn on the lights or you put him on the big field in Scott Stadium, he's going to ball out. But this is snoozeworthy. I think Cignetti, though, may not like Jordan McLeod.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a second. Here's also Curt Cignetti. I still have total confidence in Alonzo Barnett. I don't think what he put out on the field, on the game field Saturday night was indicative of what he's capable of doing. Next time he's in that situation, hopefully this experience, he can make the adjustments he needs to make sure he can play like we've all seen him play. News.
That is extremely newsworthy because you know what that tells me? He fully plans on starting Alonzo Barnett at some point this season. If Jordan McLeod has a stinker of a game, or heck, we saw it, a stinker of a half, he will not hesitate to put Barnett back in. This is exactly the opposite of what Stephen Hamner of QB Spotlight said a few weeks ago, was that when you're in a quarterback competition, you need to have the winner just get a long leash. Hella short leash with Alonzo Barnett, and with these comments, it seems like Jordan McLeod is going out there with an extremely short leash as well. Newsworthy quote.
True or false? Well, I guess this is opinion, so this would be your opinion on my statement that I'm about to make. But true or false? I think that Curt Cignetti.
Wouldn't it be agree or disagree?
Agree or disagree? Yeah, that would make, because then, yeah, gosh, what am I talking about? Agree or disagree? Curt Cignetti. I'm under the impression that Curt Cignetti believes that Alonzo Barnett is the best quarterback on JMU's roster, but he can win with both the first 2 guys.
I don't agree that Barnett right now, in the current state of the game, Barnett is the best quarterback on the roster, but I agree with your statement that you think Cignetti thinks that.
What a clear segment I've created here.
Wow, that was awesome.
I just think that he I think he still thinks that Alonzo Barnett would be the better of the 2 quarterbacks, but he's obviously not going to play someone against UVA who goes 3 of 11 for 15 yards and has the yips against Bucknell.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think he's upset because he knows in his mind, I'm putting quotes around knows for the podcast listeners, he knows Barnett's better, but Barnett didn't perform in the game, and McLeod did. I think he's put himself in this extremely sticky situation where he's this coach that preaches competition. He's this coach that preaches all of these things. Whoever's the best player goes out and plays. That's what he did with Barnett being, a baller throughout camp. He went out there and he played over this transfer with 2 years of eligibility from a Power 5 school. But then you can't see what McLeod did and not start him against UVA. That would be, completely against everything that you've preached throughout your entire time as the JMU head coach, which is why I think McLeod is starting.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Barnett, I'm still excited to see him play at some point again, because they kind of compared it Cignetti did to the yips, which a lot of golfers have overcome and a lot of other players have overcome. If he's actually as good as they say he is in practice, one day I do think that'll show up on the field. At the same time, we've watched Jordan McLeod play at other schools. He's a good quarterback. I feel very confident in what he can do. I think they're going to be able to game plan around him. I'm still a little concerned because it's He was QB2 during camp, and he only had some reps against Bucknell. But like, if you start McLeod, and by the time we get into like October, and he goes up against some of these, to be honest with you, relatively softer defenses in Georgia Southern and Old Dominion and Georgia State. Obviously, Marshall's a little bit different, but like some of those games later in the year, the defenses don't scare me at all. And I think McLeod could play at a pretty good level in those. So I am excited for what McLeod will look like moving forward.
Yeah, offensive player of the year. It starts right here, right now.